Hey, what's up? Today I want to talk about a very important topic. I want to talk about sustainability and about some things that each of us can do to live more sustainably. If we don't change our habits and continue to live as we do now, we could see the Amazon rainforest turn into a desert, we could see fishless oceans, and we could see large-scale famines all within our lifetime. Right now we are at a point where all of this can still be reversed and we can still stop this from happening, but it is really our last chance. So this moment in history is truly important. This is a historic moment that we live in, and future generations will look back at this time as the tipping point, the moment in history where we still have the chance to do something about it. When I talk to people, to friends and family, what I notice is that most of them seem to really care about this. They seem to understand how important this topic is, how important sustainability is, and they do really care about it. But I also see that their day-to-day actions are not really aligned with this belief. They see sustainability as something that's the responsibility of governments and big corporations, and that they have to make these big, large-scale changes, and we can just keep on living as we always did. And they don't really make this connection that all the destruction that is going on in this world is the direct consequences of our daily actions. Of course, it's important that governments, for example, invest more money into renewable energy, but that doesn't stop us from switching to a renewable energy plan right now and to using less electricity right now. We are truly responsible for our own actions. We live in a free market economy, and that gives us as consumers a lot of power because the market always follows consumer demand, and with that also comes a lot of responsibility. But this isn't as difficult as it sounds, and there are actually many great ways in which we can live more responsibly by making very small and easy changes. One easy thing we can do is to reduce the amount of single-use plastics that we use. Plastic is a huge problem. You have probably all seen the footage of plastic pollution in our oceans, but plastic is not only a problem because of the pollution, but also because the production of plastic is incredibly resource intensive. In today's society, avoiding plastic completely is incredibly difficult. It's not impossible, but it's really difficult. But reducing it significantly, on the other hand, is really easy. By making only a handful of small changes, we can reduce the amount of plastic that we use dramatically. So some things you can do is bringing reusable shopping bags with you when you go shopping, or you can carry a reusable water bottle with you, or you can bring reusable food containers and utensils with you to eat on the go. So just take a look at the single-use plastics that you use and that end up in your trash, and then try to find out if there are any plastic-free alternatives, and there almost always are. What we eat can also make a huge difference in the impact that we have on the planet. Most of us eat 3 times per day, and every time we eat something, there is an opportunity for us to choose a more sustainable option. Animal agriculture is one of the most destructive industries on Earth, and it's a major source of carbon emissions, deforestation, water use, and loss of biodiversity. One reason for that is that producing animal products is incredibly inefficient. To produce just 1 calorie of animal foods, we need 3 to 9 calories of plant foods because these animals have to be fed their entire lives before we can slaughter them or eat their dairy or eggs. And that doesn't even take into account the greenhouse gas emissions that these animals produce themselves. I personally decided to drastically reduce the amount of animal products that I eat 4 years ago, and I became a flexitarian. And then 2 years ago, I made the switch to go completely vegan, and I have never regretted it. Because not only is it a lot more sustainable, it's also a lot more ethical. No animals have to die unnecessarily for us, and it's also healthier for ourselves. So it's really a win-win-win scenario. And what I'd recommend to you is to just take it 1 meal at a time. So just say, I'm going to try that the next meal I eat is going to be plant-based. And then do that again and again and again. And if you slip up from time to time, it's not a big deal. Then just say again, okay, I'm going to try to make my next meal plant-based. And over time, you are going to get used to it. You are going to learn new foods, new flavors, and you are going to learn to like and appreciate these new foods. And it's not going to be difficult at all anymore. It's really just a matter of getting used to it. You really have nothing to lose, just give it a try. Cars are super inefficient. We use a lot of energy to move a 1-ton vehicle just to move one little person around. So whenever we drive a car, we produce a lot of greenhouse gases. So instead of driving a car, it's a lot more sustainable to use a bike or to walk for short distances and to use public transport for longer distances. And I'm very lucky to live in Europe, where it is very pedestrian friendly and bike friendly, and where there is a lot of options with public transport that's not available everywhere in the world. So while I don't own a car at all, it's not realistic for everybody to do that. But even if it's not realistic for you to get rid of your car, it's always possible to use it less. For example, you could batch your grocery shopping and go grocery shopping only once a week instead of 2 or 3 times per week. Or instead of commuting alone, you can carpool. There are a lot of options for you to use your car less, even if you don't have the option of not driving a car. Water is one of our most important resources. We all need it to survive, and so does the planet. And as there are more and more droughts, we really see how important water really is. Saving water often simply comes down to applying common sense, like turn off the tap while you are brushing your teeth or take shorter showers. But there are also other ways to save water. You can use water-saving taps or shower heads, and you can use your dishwasher instead of washing by hand. But it's also important to notice that the majority of water use happens upstream, so not by us as consumers, but by companies who are producing products. Industries like the meat and dairy industry or the fashion industry use a lot of water, so saving water not only comes down to limiting our own water use, but also to consuming more responsibly. Renewable energy is becoming more and more common, but the majority of our energy is still produced by burning fossil fuels. You can easily reduce your energy use by switching to energy-efficient light bulbs and by using energy-efficient appliances. And of course, you can switch to a renewable energy plan. Other than that, it really comes down to applying common sense again. So turn off the lights when you leave a room and turn off and unplug appliances that you don't use, and also reduce the amount of unnecessary electricity that you use, for example, for decorations. Cooking also uses a lot of energy, and you can save a lot of it by putting a lid on the pot. Flying is the most destructive thing that we can do in a single action. So whenever you can, avoid flying and go on vacation locally and take the train whenever is possible. And when flying can't be avoided, there are a lot of organizations that allow you to offset your CO2 emissions. I already mentioned that one way in which we have the biggest impact on the planet is by choosing how we eat. Most of us eat 3 times a day, so what we choose matters a lot. So in addition to eating a plant-based diet, you can eat what is in season locally. That has the big advantage that the food doesn't have to be shipped long distances, and it also doesn't have to be stored and cooled for a long time. Another thing you can do is to eat organic food. The pesticides and the chemical fertilizers that are used in conventional agriculture are incredibly destructive. They are really bad for biodiversity, and they also make their ways into our water systems and pollute our water. And these chemicals are not only bad for the planet and for the animals, but they are also bad for us. They are bad for us when we eat them, but they are especially bad for the farmers who have to handle these toxic chemicals every day, especially in poor countries where they don't have another choice, and also often don't even use protective gear. So if you can afford it, buy local, organic, seasonal and plant-based food, and it's even better if it's also unpackaged and unprocessed. We all heard of the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle, but what many people don't know is that they are actually in order of importance. So the most important of these R's is reduce. Whenever we buy a product, this product has gone through a long process. First, the raw materials had to be extracted from the earth. Then the products had to be produced and shipped around the world. And in every stage of this process, there is a negative impact on the environment. So while it is important to recycle, it's even more important not to buy things that you don't actually need. And when you really do need something, then buying it used is a great option, or buying it from a sustainable company. But make sure to really research the brand, because many companies use greenwashing marketing that is really confusing, and it seems like it's sustainable, but it really isn't. So definitely look into that. Many cleaning products and cosmetics contain a lot of toxic chemicals that are not only bad for our own health, but they also are very destructive for the planet when they get into the water. A lot of these products are completely unnecessary to begin with, so we can just stop using them. But for everything else, it's very easy to find non-toxic alternatives. A lot of these very toxic ingredients are not really necessary for the products to work. They are just to make them smell nicer or look nicer, or to produce foam, and to do all these things that are not really necessary for the core purpose of this product. So instead you can buy non-toxic alternatives or even make your own. There are a lot of great recipes online. One thing that many people don't think about when it comes to sustainability is their finances. When we invest money in investment funds, that money is also often funneled into very destructive companies. So with our retirement funds, we are supporting companies in industries like the fossil fuel industry, animal agriculture and fast fashion. So by taking our money out of these investments and putting it instead into sustainable investments, we can also do something for the planet. So these were some things that you can do, some changes that you can implement to become more sustainable. And I think it's important to note that you won't be able to implement all of these changes overnight. This is a process. So just take it step by step and start with what seems easy to you. So maybe you don't feel like you're ready to give up your car yet, but maybe you are excited about using a reusable water bottle and reusable shopping bag. So then just start with that. Start with something and then move on to the next thing and make small changes over time. Even if you only make one small change per week, then over the course of a year, this will be a huge transformation. And whenever you experience a setback, don't be too hard on yourself. We can never change what happened. We can only change what we are going to do next time. I hope you found this interesting and I hope you found it helpful. If you did, like this video and let me know in the comments if you are going to implement any of these things. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you if you want in my next video.